For this project, we'll be making a big picture of a turtle. His name's Tortuga, and he's one of the characters in this storybook. For starters, draw two ovals, one like this, and one that is overlapped by that one. You don't see the whole thing. Then draw a dot in each one of the ovals. Then a line that comes from this part of the eye and goes down like that. It's just curved a little bit. Then start over here and draw a curved line that goes around like that. And then bring this line down so that they're kind of parallel, but not exactly. And they both curve like that. Then draw a great big curved line. That's going to be a shell. And a line on the bottom that's not quite so curvy. Start here, let the line curve, and then turn around and come back like it changed its mind. And then do that again, but this time you won't see the whole foot, so the line's not going to go as far. Those are his 2 feet. Do the same thing on the back. Got one curved line, and then you draw one more curved line. And then a line like that for his tail. Start at the base of his neck and then draw a line like that that's kind of parallel to the bottom of the shell. And then here you're going to make some angle lines that go from the bottom line to the top line and back again, some zigzags. Then you're going to do some coloring. You may need to peel part of the wrapper off the oil pastels that we'll be using, but that's okay. They don't ever stay looking exactly like they did when they were in the box. And I'm starting by coloring his face and his neck. And with oil pastels, you can actually push down hard and have a nice thick coat. And it'll give you a coat that's a lot more thick than if you just use crayon. I'm going to color the whole turtle. Now I was able to take my video and put it in iMovie and fast forward it so that it makes me go a lot faster in the movie than I actually did in real life. So you don't need to try to go this fast, but I just wanted to get it done in a short amount of time so you could watch the whole thing. I'm coloring in all of the shapes, and then I'm putting a design on the yellow, and you can put any design you want on the yellow. And then the next thing is to take them and cut them out. Now cutting might be kind of hard for you to start with, but what you do is you just hold the paper and you turn the paper as you cut. See, I'm turning the paper around. You don't try to turn your scissors and follow the line. You just turn your paper. Take your time. For the background, I started with a blue piece of construction paper. I'm using a black oil pastel to draw a curved line to make the ground and make the sun. And then I'll make a big cactus over here. The oil pastel will help keep my paint from running into the other areas. You can draw as many cactuses as you want to. You don't have to just stop at one. All right, to start with, I have some tempera paint that's orange, and I have dipped my brush into it, but I don't need to put my brush in water yet because I'm still using the orange paint, and tempera's already wet. Notice how I'm leaning my hand on the table to steady it, and how I'm just kind of painting in one direction. I'm not scrubbing back and forth. Scrubbing back and forth will make your painting not look as good as it could, and it wears the brushes out. After a while, if everybody's scrubbing, you end up with brushes that have 2 or 3 hairs to them. Okay, so there's the sun. Now I need to wash my brush out good in my water container. And once I've done that, I need to dry it off with my paint rag. Then I'll go on and I'll paint the cactus. I'm staying in between the lines, but the oil pastel, the way it is, how it sheds water and things like that, actually does make the paint stay in place easier than if I hadn't used it. Remember to lean your hand on the table and hold your brush like a pencil and paint toward you. Just draw your brush towards you. It's a little easier, I think. And please remember not to scrub. Okay, now it's time to wash my brush again. If you have more cactuses, you'll be painting more with the green paint before you go on. All right, now the next thing is to use brown for the ground or the desert sand or whatever. This is actually a darker brown than sand would be, but it's the ground. And this is going to take longer because it's a big area that you're painting brown. But to start with, what I do is I go right along the outline, and that'll make it easier to paint the rest of it because I won't have to worry about painting over into another area. And I've got my table protected. Now you might even be given a bigger brush at this point to use for this big area. I tend to want to use smaller brushes because I don't think great big brushes are really good for kids to learn how to paint unless it's in a great big area. It's even hard for adults to take a great big paintbrush and try to control it and paint a picture with it, unless it's a great big picture that needs great big strokes. And in most classrooms, there's not enough room for something that's 4 feet wide. So anyway, you finish off painting your sand, and then you're going to need to let it dry before you do the rest of the picture. Always remember to clean your brush before you put it away. Make sure there's no paint left in it. Rinse it really, really good in your water container, and then dry it off with your paint rag. And sometimes I even test mine on the back of my hand to make sure there's no paint left in it. Okay, I've had a chance to let this dry, and so now the next thing is to put the turtle on it. I just use little dots around the edge. You don't really need to glue in the middle because it's going to be held down on the edge. But you want to make sure you do glue on the edge. And they don't have to be big dots of glue either. They can be just little ones, and it'll hold it in place. And then you just press it into place right where you want the turtle to be. And there's your turtle picture.